Ah, gather round, young'uns, and let me spin you a yarn from the days when the world was split in two, like an old barn ready to collapse. It was the Cold War, a time when America and the Soviet Union were locked in a staring contest that seemed like it could turn into a fistfight any second. Now, I reckon you've heard of all the serious stuff, nuclear missiles, spy games, and the like. But there's one story that's as curious as a three-legged cat. It's about a plan so cheeky, so downright audacious, it could only come from a mind with a touch of mischief. You see, some folks in the good old US of A cooked up a plan to mess with the Soviets' heads in a way that'd make you chuckle. Picture this. It's the height of the Cold War, sometime in the 1950s or 60s, when tensions were higher than a kite in a hurricane. Some clever fellas in the American Psychological Operations Unit, those are the folks who fight wars with ideas and tricks, not guns, came up with a wild notion. They wanted to drop condoms on Soviet soil, but not just any condoms, no sir. These were to be extra-large condoms. Now, here's the kicker. They'd label these XL condoms as medium. Yep, you heard me right. The idea was to make the Soviets think that American men were, well, more generously endowed than them. It was a grand scheme of psychological warfare, aiming to mess with the Soviets' minds by planting seeds of doubt and inferiority. Imagine the scene: Soviet soldiers or civilians stumbling upon these medium condoms and scratching their heads, wondering just what kind of giants the Americans were. It was meant to shake their confidence, make them feel a bit smaller, if you catch my drift. Oh, the Cold War was full of such strange and sneaky tactics. They didn't just fight with bombs and bullets. They fought with ideas, propaganda, and sometimes with plain old-fashioned humor. This condom caper might sound silly, but it was a part of a larger game, a game where even the smallest doubt could turn the tide. Of course, whether this plan ever took flight, or rather, fell to the ground with those condoms, is another question. Some say it was just a proposal that never saw the light of day. But the fact that someone thought it up tells you a lot about the lengths folks were willing to go to win that war of minds and hearts.